we've got the Nkuhuma pride. Now, they gave us a little bit of a slip. They were zigzagging. I think that they must have tried to follow the scent of the buffalo that had come walking onto the property, because there definitely were lots of tracks around that hoofed animal, and, well, it was just the tracks of that thing. And I think they tried to follow it and couldn't find it, and then disappeared back west. But I was very happy once I drove from Weaver's Nest up Gari, Main, not seeing any tracks crossing out. So I was definitely happy about that. So they've been on the move. It's one of the younger Nkuhuma lionesses, and I think they're all here, besides obviously the one set of female lion tracks that disappear in towards Simbambili. Hello, little lion. We've got a bit of a limp. See that? It looked like it was limping just a little bit. Maybe when they dashed after that warthog yesterday morning, they got a thorn in the paw, stood funny, fell in a hole. That could have happened too, but remember, these cats are resilient creatures, and something like a little old sore paw won't bother them for too long. So this is quite nice. The only problem is that I really hope that they don't go down into this drainage line off to the left of us, because if they do, it's going to be quite hard to follow them. It's very thick. But I don't know what their plans are going to be. They've still got relatively full bellies, so... And David, I think we're going to lose our shot there. There's obviously other people in the sighting with us, so we just need to, of course, just allow them to move around, but we'll try and get another view again. We'll let them finish repositioning, and then we'll take up another spot in a second. Oh, they are. They're just moving into this thicket here. Whether they're going to rest here for most of the day, maybe. I mean, they don't look like they need to eat anything right now. If there's an opportunity that comes around, I'm sure they'll take it. It's a good spot to just lay in the thicket like this. No one will see you coming. You just rest there, wait for the animals to start moving around, and then when it gets a little bit better for the lions, so maybe tonight, they might have a chance. But I also noticed on the oldest lioness that has got that injury on her hip that she did last year, September, I think it was. It looks like the young male laying there. She also actually had a few more injuries to her, so I suspect either from scrapping over the warthog carcass, or while they were going in, maybe that warthog got a fair few punches before it got taken down. It wouldn't surprise me. It did look like it was a big old boar, and I bet that wasn't his first run-in with the lions. They're all looking in that direction. I think they might just follow one after the other and head into that thicket. The other thing is that we're quite close to the boundary. We're not very far away at all. Maybe only 150 meters or so. There they are, getting up now. That's nice to see. Now, Mohammed, thank you so much for your question. We don't really have a coalition of males at the moment, and the reason why I say this is because the Birmingham males, who have 4 beautiful big males, sort of arrived in about 2015, and they've decided, with the recent dynamics of the lions down further south, sort of spread up a bit and opened up an opportunity for them to go down there, and that's where there's lots of lionesses down there. There's also lots of food, lots of buffalo hang around the sand in the Sabi River. So they've moved into that spot, and I don't blame them. It's like they've basically been offered a property on the beach with a pool as well, and a gym. And, kind of up here, they've got the pool, but they don't have the sea view. So they've thought, well, that's a bit better, let's go down there. So at the moment, this area is open. Every now and then, they pop back up, and they do a little visit, but I can't even tell you the last time that I saw a male lion. It was weeks and weeks ago. So there are 3 other male lions that are coming also from the north, known as the Avoca males, that have been hanging around another property just north of us called the Manuleti, and then also Wiffelshoek. And they've been seen around there, but they're still quite young, and I think that the Birminghams make them a little bit nervous when they do come up here. So they haven't quite moved in just yet. It's like they're renting at the moment, or just Airbnb, popping in for the weekend, sussing it all out, and then they go back home again. So we're waiting. We're waiting to see what happens, Mohammed. And again, only time will tell. But I think the Birminghams are quite happy with their new spot down south. Pradeep, who's only 6 years old, I haven't found a squirrel for you yet, but it's on the cards, seeing as though I know you're watching. If I hear one shouting, we'll try and show you as well. Now, I don't know if the lions forgot what they ate yesterday. I'm sure they must remember that it was a warthog. I'm sure. I don't think that they're that forgetful. I think that they're definitely able to remember what they ate. See, to me, it looks like those big full bellies, I don't know if they really want to walk anywhere. I'm just trying to watch them as they disappear while you look at that one that's sleeping, just to see if they're settling or if they're still continuing, if they're on the move. Hello, boy. Here's the young male. He's lovely. He's a strong boy. He's not small. He's definitely the same size as the lionesses now. Maybe a little bit shorter, but I think his weight will be close to weighing exactly the same amount as the big girls in the pride. Okay, I'm just seeing. They're in here. They're just laying around. Now, Rusty's a little bit on the sick side, so I can't do too much off-roading, I'm afraid. I've got to be gentle. Rolf told me, Taylor, be gentle with Rusty. I said, I'll try. So we'll just try poke our nose off here. But if they do go into this thicket and decide to go on the move, we won't be able to follow them. We'll have to just sort of hopefully wait and anticipate their... That's very funny, Luke. I'm definitely not the most gentle driver, especially when I chase after wild dogs. Look at this. This is a serious carpet of lions. There we go. Fast asleep. I think this is where they're going to lay until maybe in like 20 or 30 minutes time, when that sun, which is just catching the tops of the trees above them, when that rises slightly, it's going to warm them up quite a bit, and I think they're just going to move further and further into this thicket, because along this drainage system there are a couple of big trees that would cast some nice shadows, but it's also densely packed with a variety of guaris and bush willows and African wattles and, oh, well, you name it, all sorts of amazing things here. So I think they'll be nice and cool for the day. But for the moment, they are very, 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 very sleepy. And we probably will let them sleep. I don't think I'm going to be sitting with them. Just looking at their behavior now, they're not going to be going anywhere. Nancy, I mean, I've only been here for almost 2 years now, and in the 2 years that I've been here, ours has not successfully raised a cub. She's definitely had cubs before, though. None of us, we think we saw the cub. I don't know if you remember, it was about this time last year, maybe a little bit later in the year, where there was one little cub seen on its own in the middle of the road with Ali, and it was a very sad scene. He was being bullied slightly, and Amber Eyes wasn't really doing much about it. So we don't know why she hasn't successfully raised cubs before, and we can speculate as much as we like, but we're never going to know the answer. So yeah, so she's gone off though. I don't think she's here. We couldn't quite count all the lions because some of them had already gone into this thicket by the time we'd arrived. But I'm pretty sure that if they were all laying out in the open, we'd count 10. And she's probably gone back to the den site on Simbambili, and that's good news. I mean, that's fine. You know, not seeing her around the pride is probably a good thing. Now, Ruby, it depends on whether it's a first-time mother. I always find that lions that are having cubs for the first time normally have 1 or 2, but they can have up to about 4. I don't think I've ever seen a lion really with more. 4 seems to be the common number of cubs to sort of have, and that's quite a lot. They say only 1 in 4 cubs will make it to adulthood, so it's a very sad statistic, that, but it is very, very tough for the predators, for leopards, for lions, for cheetah. It's just how nature goes, I suppose. There's many things out here that would try and get them too. Luckily, though, for the lions and leopards. Sorry, I'm just listening to another question. Paula, you've asked now about if those cubs of Amber Eyes are, well, when would she introduce him to the Pride? I think the Pride has probably been around that den site already. We saw that last year in August, just before I went to Kenya, when the youngest Nkuhuma lioness had some cubs, and they were still being carried around. They were very, very young. I mean, they must have only been a few weeks old, maybe 2 weeks old, maybe even younger than that. And the whole Pride was sitting around there. So she probably wouldn't want to have them to have much to do with the rest of the Pride, because those sub-adults could be quite rough, and they're still teeny tiny. So she'll probably keep them hidden and in the same den for the first 2 weeks or so of their life, and then she'll start moving them around. But normally at about 2-3 months old, the Pride will frequent the den site more and more often, and she'll slowly introduce them. Again, it's different to it depends on every lion. But we don't know what Amber Eyes is going to do we? I don't think she's really properly ever introduced a cub. And that time that she did introduce a cub, it was way too young to be out and playing around with the rest of the Pride. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it's normally around 2 or 3 months that they sort of come out and, even have a little nibble on a carcass. I think we're going to go for a little bit of a drive, though. And these lions look like they're going to be sleeping for most of the morning. We'll come back and check up on them in a little bit. Let's send you back to David.